In this legendary motion picture from Paramount, all-American hero Tom Cruise stars as Maverick, the young, cocky-as-hell pilot that some people don't like because he's dangerous. Mav and his best friend and wingman Goose are a terrific tandem in the sky, and they get sent off to the Navy's Fighters Weapon School, or as the Flyers call it, Top Gun, to go head-to-head with the other most elite pilots in the Navy. For context, my name on the birth certificate is Maverick. My entire life, upon introducing myself to someone, the most common response I get is something along the lines of, "Maverick, huh? Where's Goose?" It may seem like this would get old after the first couple hundred times, but it really doesn't. Why? Because it means people are referencing and paying verbal tribute to one of the greatest movies ever made. Not a minute of its sub 2-hour runtime is wasted. Full-blown spoilers ahead. If you haven't seen Top Gun, I mean, what are you doing? Please, go see the movie before you watch this video, then come back for my thoughts afterward. Also, kindly like this video and subscribe to my channel so I can appease the YouTube algorithmic gods. From the jump, this movie kicks ass. The opening credits roll and we see Navy crewmen aboard an aircraft carrier, readying the jets for takeoff amidst the cool of the ocean breeze. As soon as the engines light up, Kenny Loggins' Danger Zone hits the speakers, and if you're a red-blooded American, you immediately are endorphin rushed with the need for speed pumping through your veins. We get introduced to Mav and Goose as they're running interference against some nearby Russian MiG fighters. They successfully scare away the MiGs, but not before Maverick pulls a big dick energy maneuver of inverting his plane and giving the Russian the bird. That's such a Maverick thing to do. Mav and Goose debrief with Principal Skinner, and he has no choice but to give them their dream shot and send them to Top Gun. Jesus, didn't that guy ever have hair? Maverick exudes a unique Cruisian blend of confidence and swagger that can be his greatest asset, but also his biggest weakness. Mav uses his aerial acrobatics to take out his enemies of the sky, while drifting away from being more of a team player. His bond and chemistry with Goose is special. Mav is the playboy willing to break Navy regulations to buzz the house of the Admiral's daughter he's banging, while Goose is the fun-loving, piano-playing family man. They often bump heads with the other pilots about who's going to be best in class, usually with the likes of Slider, Hollywood, and most frequently, Val Kilmer's Iceman. Iceman is awesome. He's just as confident and arrogant as Maverick, but is more of a team player and criticizes Mav for being selfish. But along with his story of daring aviators, we get one of the great romances of the 20th century. Mav spots this beautiful woman at a bar and pulls an all-time ballsy move by serenading her with "You've Lost That Lovin' Feelin'" while getting the whole bar to join in. Somehow, this maneuver, arguably riskier than the inverted stun earlier, actually works as she invites him to sit next to her after that. And it works for one reason and one reason only. Cause it's Tom Cruise and he can pull off anything. Did I forget to mention he's an all-American hero? They flirt a little bit, but eventually she leaves to go hang with some old guy. But that doesn't stop Maverick. Now don't try this at home, gents, but look at this smile and self-assurance Tom walks into the ladies' room with. Like there was absolutely no chance that this was going to go horribly wrong. And it doesn't. They continue flirting a bit before going their separate ways. Kelly McGillis kills this role. She's Charlie, the government-contracted civilian specialist hired to evaluate these pilots' proficiency. She's smart, doesn't suffer fools, and very sexy. Maverick and her can't help but try and fail to ground their flirtatiousness with each other, as it soon boils over as Maverick locks in a coveted date. Quick pause in the action. At this point, we're like 30 minutes into the movie and you see how amazing it is? This is also a perfect example of reviews getting it wrong. Look at this travesty. Top Gun is currently sitting at a user rating on IMDb of 6.9. Nice. But not nice. And with the critics, it's even worse. It's a 50 on Metacritic. Look at this sorry-ass review from a staff writer for the TV Guide magazine. Quote, "What Top Gun contributes to the genre is an increased emphasis on military hardware and an almost homoerotic attraction for male bodies, mostly sweaty ones." Unquote. Pshh. You say that like it's a bad thing. It is a shame, TV Guide magazine staff writer, that your ignorance and insecurity won't let you enjoy a celebration of the physique of man. Maybe you're unaware, staff writer, but a jet fighter pilot has to be in peak conditioning to be able to be proficient or even qualified for their job. So all these in shape, good-looking, glistening dudes is accurate to real life. And you know what you do when you look that good, staff writer? You go playing with them boys for some shirtless beach volleyball before a hot date. Oh yeah! The love affair sparks fly between Mav and Charlie. Everything is going great. Our hero is at the peak of his powers. But then, the unthinkable happens. During one of the runs, there is a malfunction with Mav and Goose's jet, and it starts to fall. Goose pulls the eject lever, but the canopy doesn't come off properly, and Goose violently collides with it. Goose is pronounced dead shortly thereafter. So when people ask me, where's Goose? I remind them, Goose died, man. Nobody talks about it, but this had to be a big, unexpected twist when this movie came out. Mufasa's death from The Lion King doesn't have anything on Goose's. Yeah, I said it. Up until this point, it seems like an all fun and games movie, which is exactly how Maverick acts and carries himself, until the harsh reality of the fragility of life comes crashing down on him. Goose's death sends Maverick into a tailspin. He's lost his confidence in the air, he's lost his will to continue flying, and most of all, he's lost that loving feeling. He plans to exit the Top Gun program, but he has a heart-to-heart with Tom Skerritt, bringing up Mav's dearly departed father, who was also a fighter pilot. Maverick finds himself and decides to graduate with the rest of his peers. Suddenly, there is an emergency that requires some of the graduates to fly out and stave off some Russian MiG aggression. Mav overcomes the PTSD from losing Goose and guns down the MiGs. He comes back to cheers and the respect and admiration of his former rivals. The once rivalrous Iceman, Slider, Hollywood, and others bury the proverbial hatchet with Mav. Mav decides to stay on as a Top Gun instructor, as Charlie and he find that love and feeling once again. I'm forever grateful that my parents named me Maverick. Not only is it a great name of which I hold the legacy of with high regard, but it is a name that Tony Scott, Tom Cruise, and writers Jim Cash and Jack Epps Jr. popularized in a 1986 blockbuster that would inspire thousands of future pilots to take to the skies. It's a brilliantly casted movie top to bottom. It's the performance that jettisoned Tom Cruise onto the path of becoming the greatest movie star of all time. Anthony Edwards as Goose is the perfect wingman. Kelly McGillis, as I said, is tremendous. Iceman Val Kilmer is one of the coolest characters ever. Meg Ryan as Goose's wife Carol. James Tolkien as Stinger. Splinter Cell legend Michael Ironside as the no-nonsense jester. Tom Skerritt as the encouraging Viper. The list goes on, but all these people added their own unique contribution towards making this the legendary movie it is. Which brings me to perhaps this movie's biggest strength, and that is chemistry. The cast not only works, but it works together. Whether it's one of the scenes where Mav and Goose are being bros, or Mav and Charlie dating, or especially when the pilots are busting each other's balls, everybody brings their A game. And there's the meta of this movie. It's about being a good wingman, working together as a unit, and not having your ego write checks your body can't cash. Top Gun's got excitement, thrills, humor, friendship, romance, tragedy, triumph in the face of fear, incredible aerial cinematography, an all-time memorable soundtrack, and of course, is endlessly quotable. This movie will take your breath away.